Ghetto people are very creative, extremely talented and know how to live. Especially when it comes to politics. The people in the ghetto, they master all the tricks. When you hear they want to get a little walk with URP, they just run down in the yard with UNC Josie. But when the tent is done and you hear they get a pay, they just run back in the ghetto and wave their bodies there. The people in the ghetto living very comfortable. The women in particular are very fashionable. Anytime you see them, they're always looking nice. And one good thing about them, they don't wear the same thing twice. Manicures and pedicures, their nails always sleek. They visit their hairdresser mama every single week. Coca-Cola figure boy, they're sexy and they trim. Come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every day they in the gym.
Yes,
Mama, oh, they love it. Hey, hey, hey. Love you. Love it. Love it.
A pleasant good night to all in Century, East, West, North, South, Central, or President Tobago, and wherever you are. Streaming in the worldwide web, a pleasant good day to you. Yes, indeed, of course, the progress is a must. And while, of course, the Calypsonian making a mockery of people in the ghetto, really, suggesting that somehow they are rich. Because if you go in the house, you see all kinds of modern facilities for comfortable, contemporary living. That is a fallacy that this Calypsonian is referring to and about, of course, the people who live in the ghetto. Because if you go to Westmoreland, he will never have that comment to make, simply because when you watch at their buildings, not their interior, what they have inside, but their buildings, you will know that they are rich. So it is a fallacy to look at people's board house and people's ramshackle, disorganized community and say that it is comfortable for those who are living there. It does not take into consideration the fact that they are faced with the options choice. They have no choice but to live there in, of course, inhospitable conditions. I could tell him about mosquitoes, cockroaches, rats, vermin. But let's listen to, what's his name? Pink Panther. Well, that and a pink donkey, clearly, he never watched that in order to put that song together, a misrepresentation of what happens in the ghetto. But let's hear it.
They laughing. Children running, butt kicking ball in the street with $1,000 brand name Michael Jordan sneakers on their feet. Blenders and dishwashers, microwave if you please. Goatee lap and tattoo pack up in their deep freeze. The outside of the building, man, could make your belly crawl. But check up on the inside, man, is carpet wall to wall. Mama, oh, they laughing. They laughing. They laughing. They laughing.
Of course, let's take off that misrepresentation of what occurs in the ghetto. Certainly, they don't see themselves as wealthy and well-to-do. They see themselves as poor and, of course, struggling to survive. And therefore, when the opportunity around Christmas time, where, of course, furniture stores and other household appliance businesses and the banks provided the capital facilitation to get, of course, easy Christmas loans, and of course they find the money in order to make the down payments. But at the end of the day, many of them, before the middle of the year, we see, of course, the repossessors are knocking on their doors or they voluntarily send it back. So that is ephemeral, that is temporary. That kind of what I consider euphoria, that type of utopia is of course a misrepresentation of what happens in the ghetto. Joshua, just stand up a little, just lean back a little bit because we are not seeing you there. By now you should know whether you are, you see they're live on the monitoring internal, but you must know by now what to do in order to of course make certain that you are fully engaged and fully visible by the audience. That being as it may, let us of course, last night I missed of course Joshua, but it was due to circumstances, you know, I love that term, beyond my control. But of course tonight, he's here. Somebody's calling already, let's hear what they have to say. Yes, you notice we have of course the telephone intact. Pleasant good night, welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox,
Well,
and to your young co-host, Lennox Jr. dear. Joshua, how you doing, little dude?
go ahead, speak. Yes.
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, good, Joshua.
Thanks for asking.
Listen to me, you could call me Auntie. Okay, but don't call me Auntie
Don't
Counts.
raise up the
And
speak, go to it.
I miss my address, and I'm calling because nobody calling right now. But Joshua, I wanted to talk to you seriously as a little kid who goes to school in the school in Trinidad and Tobago. What is the thing that you like most about school? And don't say food. I want to ask you, what is the thing you enjoy most about going to school? And don't say any lies, just tell the truth. You know, like...
Well, first of all, some of the good friends, not the bad friends. The bad friends are not very good. Second of all, I like reading, and third of all, I like some challenging work sometimes. If it's a little too challenging, well, I will still try and do it. Even if I can't understand it, teacher will just help me out. So,
Yeah, there you go, there you heard it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. No prompting. Hello, you still there?
hello?
Miss, are you still there? You still with us? You know what is happening here? All right, yeah, well, call back because we seem to have lost you.
I see the problem.
What's the problem?
It was muted.
What was muted?
The call was muted. It's alright, you could call back.
All right, yes.
The comments are empty today.
All right, let's see.
They laughing in the ghetto.
But because I think we have such a discussion that was asked, so maybe we can now move on. Such a good night to you, Joshua. Welcome back. She has a very special discussion. Yes, indeed. You heard the music. Do you think that it was a good representation of what happens in the ghetto? Because he's saying that he's saying in the music that people in the ghetto are rich because they have furniture, they have fridge, they have stove, and so on. And he say they're rich, even though the buildings that they live in is not fit. From what he has said, I could interpret it to be not fit for human occupation? Let me put it that way.
Well,
What's your view?
I went in one of the ugly buildings,
Uh-huh.
so we say.
So we accept that they are ugly buildings, okay?
They are ugly
And you
buildings.
did in fact send a similar letter to the president recently.
Yes, they are ugly buildings, but inside some
Don't play up with the thing. You will have it distorted. Go ahead.
let me put this like. Alright, so some of the buildings
Uh-huh.
are very nice
Okay.
inside.
Inside. All right.
The outside looks ugly.
And if you're walking as an ordinary person, would you say that these are rich people?
No.
Okay.
Well, they might be like regular standard. Not really rich to be seen.
Not really rich. All right. Yeah. No. That is my position as well. They are not rich, but they are struggling to live, and something called commercialization or capitalism caused them to really be a victim of that system, because when the banks say, come, you have no down payment, or you don't have to have any collateral, just come and you'll get a Christmas loan, for example, on TV and fridges and other plans, including car. I mean, as a poor person, you're willing to get that. But the trick in the whole thing is that after 3 months, you have to pay the installments or run the risk of the taking back the item, or being in arrears. Some bailiff will end up on your doorstep. A bailiff is a person who comes to repossess and take back your things. That happens. Do you think that happens regularly in the rich communities? Because the rich community buy the thing cash, and they're done with that, rather than, of course, having to generate these kind of schemes to suck the poor people in, knowing full well that they can't pay for it, because that is why you're giving them credit, and you're giving them it on installments, and eventually when they can't pay, you just go and take it back and you sell it to somebody else. Waiting.
I am still trying to figure out what you mean by collateral.
Oh, okay. Collateral mean that if you have something, if you're going to the bank, right, and you want a loan, the bank will ask you what it is you could put up, what it is you could provide in order for me to lend you this money. So if you have a house, you have a piece of land, you have a car, then okay, I'll keep the car, or I will mortgage the land, as the case may be. In other words, they want to keep the land or the car or the house until you finish paying. That is called collateral. Understand? Right? Okay, good. All right. Go ahead.
So the question that
I'm now asking is whether or not you think that rich people, do they pay cash for their things, and therefore there's no need to put up the house, and if
Yes.
they don't pay, the bank will take it. Waiting. What the rich people do?
I think the rich people pay on time.
Yeah, they pay on time, and they pay their bills. Whereas, of course, the present way that things are done in the poor communities set them up to fail, and when they fail, of course, you take back the items and you sell it probably for as much as or just below the original new price. That's the trick. So it's tricking the whole thing. All right, what you did today in school? Yeah, you have 15 minutes. Come on, quickly. What you did in school today?
Well, I did work, I read, I played with my friends. That's pretty much the whole thing.
That's about it. All right, what you want to do for us tonight? I'm not going to ask you any grammar or mathematical question tonight. I want to get on with some work that we have outstanding And of course, the lines is open. You can call us while Joshua is here, if only to show off that the line is working so we can test it at the same time. But go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah, somebody's calling.
already.
Somebody's calling. Yes, see what's happening. All right. Pleasant good night. All right. Pray by you, pray by you, pray by you, pray by you. Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
Joshua, I want to just say something small to you. When they say collateral, they mean like if you're working, right, and you have a job and you want something on credit, you're carrying your job, they ask you for your job letter and see how much money you make when the month come or however you're getting paid, and you could get something credit on your job. But when you say house and land, right, Joshua, that is a mortgage. It is a difference. It's a mortgage. So if you can't reach to pay a mortgage, they will take your house and land. Right?
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Yes, Joshua, man. And keep it up, right?
Thanks. Okay,
And study hard in school.
okay, thank you.
All right. So you care to repeat what he said? You can explain what he said?
He said, when they take your land and your house and stuff until you have to pay back, it's called a mortgage.
Right, okay, right, yes.
And I can't remember what he said about
right.
that.
Well, right, so
I'm sorry.
all right, but all of that, all mortgages, things that there's another term called lien and so on. All of those are collateral that you have to put up, but there are different types. So you have a mortgage type, you have hire purchase type, where in hire purchase situations, well, the item itself becomes the collateral. So if you buy a car, right, there's a hire purchase agreement on the car, right? So if you don't pay off for the car, the bank take it back. Even though you didn't have the car before and put it up as collateral like your land or your house, as the case may be, you would have had that before. But if you have the hire purchase type of collateral is one where the thing itself becomes the collateral, the thing that you're putting up for the bank to feel comfortable to lend you money or to buy the car for you. Huh? Right? Okay. You was about to read something, so let's do it quickly. We only have a few more minutes.
Alright, so Master Joshua. Dear Joshua, Her Excellency the President has asked me to answer the very nice letter that you sent earlier this month, inviting her to visit your school, Eastern Boys Government Primary. Her Excellency wants to thank you for your lovely letter and gracious invitation to visit Eastern Boys. I am sure you realized that there are people like you in many schools in Trinidad and Tobago who also want the same thing. Since Her Excellency is president of the entire country, she has to wait.
That's what? Yeah, there seems to be a mistake there. Where we shall tell you, because I too had a difficulty in looking at it. She has to what? She has to go. No.
She has to go from one district to another, so that schools all over the country are included. While the schools she will be visiting already settled for this term, she will certainly consider Eastern Boys as a possibility in the new year. In the meanwhile, she wants to encourage you to do well in your new school. No, she wants to encourage you to do well in your new school. Continue being positive about your community and work together with your dad to make Eastern Port of Spain a better place.
I said, and who, somebody wrote it on her behalf. Who would this?
Ken Janet.
Yeah.
Jan-
Missy, Jardine. Jardine, yes. Okay.
Her Excellency send her best wishes to you and your family and your school.
Beautiful. Just give us about 2 paragraphs of the letter that you actually sent that caused the president to ask her advisor to answer your letter. Just give us 2 paragraphs. Just begin the beginning and just give us 2 paragraphs.
I'm just going to read from the start of the thing. Dear Her Excellency, my name is Joshua Smith. I am 10 years of age and I live in the community of George Street and Nelson Street, which people say is very bad. To be truthful, police visit and rough people up, especially young people, regularly. We are seen as a poor community while the area has ugly buildings. Homeless people roam the streets day and night. Excellency, parents have to warn their children of the dangers of the street because of drug pushers and drug takers. Violence and bullying is something that we all know very well.
We have to work here, and the day is never done. A gentleman just came, he's getting a job tomorrow, and he asked me for a recommendation, and of course I oblige. I just cannot help it, just as Joshua. But go ahead, Joshua. So sorry for that interruption.
Bullying. I lost where I was.
Right,
I can find it back. Bullying is something that we all know, and I know that it is bad, and I do not practice bullying like all the good parents in the all the good parents in the community. We are told over and over that violence and bullying is not good.
That's it. Yes. All right. People, of course, well, he has read. Of course, I thought I should have him do it himself, because yesterday I did all of that, and of course I know that you'll be familiar with. We don't want. He was asking me earlier if he could wear glasses, so I suspect where he's going is either he's attempting to make the case for the glasses, or he has a genuine issue. Well, we will do the test, and the test will, of course, prove to be whether that is so or not. Any parting words you want to share with the population that is watching us at this point in time?
Well, since tomorrow is half day for my school, I want to ask one question. Are you going to send me or?
Wait. Let's see if this person wants to speak to you.
Okay.
Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night, Uncle Lennox.
Pleasant good night. Yes.
Yeah, good night. Good night, small man. You doing good?
Yes, sir, I am good. Are you good?
Alright then. Yeah, man, I am good, man. I am good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, good program. Uncle Lennox.
Hey.
Seeing that you're on the topic with mortgage and hire purchase.
Yes.
You could also explain to them what is leverage and what is equity. Alright? Yeah, so you could always explain them to that what it is. So because you know equity and leverage is go hand in hand with mortgage too, right? So you can highlight it
Well,
to them.
well, I would expect that
Um,
as you're on it, you would have said it, you would have explained one time.
Oh, well, the equity meaning if it take a mortgage for a certain mortgage, say 100,000, right?
Yes.
The difference what when you pay from the principal amount, the balance from that is where is the equity. So some business people nowadays use the equity now as leverage to finance other properties as well.
Well, leverage really is
Right?
the advantage that you have. You leveraging what advantage that you have. I think that's essentially what it is. And of course, equity has several meanings, but of course, in this case, it means that the part that you would have played your investment, your equity, your part ownership, as the case
Yeah.
may be. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, concerning the same thing we was talking about the response to the police and them with emergency scenarios.
Okay.
We just touched the issue with the pilot the other day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's
But
the fellow
something
who got,
happened in Williamsville
kidnapped.
Yesterday,
Yes. Go ahead.
where a man was killed,
Right.
right? And what happened now? People that saw the suspect and called the Gasparilla police station and they never respond. I think it was after 6 in the morning they would have get a call. And the result right now is a man dead. So I think I come up with an idea now. I don't know if this is a solution.
Go ahead.
You have a entity, an external entity dealing with the GPS of the police vehicle and monitoring the police vehicles and them. An external entity.
Okay.
Because something can be right, but we need to learn about something in right.
Do you think that should be incorporated with the responsibility of what Johnny Abraham would have just been handed? He's in charge of the NOC, I believe it is. It is monitoring all of the activities, all of the cameras and so on all over the country, basically, and working in sync with, of course, the SSA. I would assume, but as a separate entity. Do you think that might be
No. I'm not sure the depth of what you're talking about, the way you explained to me, right?
Okay. All right.
But it could work, but I just believe that this had to be by itself separate to get transparency and accountability.
So a separate department must be monitoring those police vehicles and so on that are outside.
Not a department, a separate institution.
Total institution. All right.
Exactly.
Not a
Exactly.
department of the police. Something like SSA.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Because guys, taxpayers' money paying for police vehicle and to fuel the police vehicle and them.
All right.
And when it's time in people in need, they cannot get no assistance from people and them.
Oh boy. Yeah. And of course, your point is the tardiness of the police with respect to the pilot's kidnapping. That they did not respond when they ought to, and then you have this more recent one.
Yeah, in Williamsville, you know.
Which resulted in murder now. All right, I hear you.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if when they're in the forum, if they could highlight this, and they could have some form of consultation with the seven stakeholders, and come to some agreement.
All right, I'm going to take it on board. I'm going to take it on board because, it has implication for, and we have seen instances where home invasion, for example, where the police would have been contacted but no response, and the act would have been completed by the assailants. They leave before the police, if they ever come. And then, of course, people are angry. And, of course, people like you who are very concerned as a concerned citizen certainly would be raising alarm and, of course, preferring, as you have done, solutions to the problem. So I think well done, and it shows that people are thinking. Go ahead.
And this showing you that the necessary stations and them, like the lower supervision and them, like the sergeant and them, like they're not managing the resources properly when it comes to the vehicle and certain things.
All right. Yeah, because I mean,
because just after the election, it's 60-something vehicles we get.
Yeah, and if you go,
you understand?
And if you go at the graveyard, you'll be surprised. I see them moving from in front police training college, because it was always an embarrassing and what I consider to be unhealthy sight. You know, so they hide it away up in Kumoto now, so you can't see it. But even up there, somebody went and take one and playing police and was escorting some businessman equipment on the road of Trinidad and Tobago. I think they have put a handle on that one, but you don't know how many more like that might be well up and around. Yeah.
Is there a gentleman who will make a valid contribution at time in the program with regards to the police vehicle them are repairing the one them take certain parts and the one them and salvage them and try and put to make up the other ones, you know, to get them road, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've sure that the get a brilliant idea time in the program too as well with regards to that. But something needs to be done with the police vehicle and them and the response to emergency.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
Because sometimes you call it 999 and you have to wait a whole while before you can get an operator in.
Yeah, boy. That's a tragedy. I hope that I know that the authorities are listening, and you are a citizen of this country, you are a taxpayer, and one expects that those kinds of positive and constructive, whether it's criticism or ideas, must be, of course, taken on board, among others, of course. Yeah, thanks. That's it.
Yeah, that's my contribution to that, man. I'll look on this.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, have a pleasant good night. Yes, man.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Joshua, I see you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
I see you looking at the comments. What attracted your attention? Any comment that attracted your attention?
Well, every single comment in there, matter of fact, there are no bad comments.
Oh, no bad comment. That is good. People, I don't read the comments. I think it's a distraction in my view. And the people who are commenting, who are communicating with each other using this medium, I think all I could say, we facilitate, and if you use it as a means to communicate, and the communication can be good and bad, but the fact is that I will not be part and parcel of any comment, whether good or bad. I think that is a separate element. Andy likes to do it, and I commend him for that, but to me, we have some serious matters to treat with, and if you have to comment on it, well, comment on it, and that is a facility that is there, and we welcome it. Of course, we are heading for 40,000 persons at night. I want to say that the camera, as you will notice, would have been adjusted. I got back the foundational, I should say, or the primary camera, and that is what we are looking at now. So we are looking a little better. And I want to say that we are also on Facebook as well. But you have to log on to Alfred John on Facebook. Alfred John. So we are back on Facebook as well. Whilst, of course, on YouTube, you have to log on to Corridor Transformation. And then, of course, just click, and you will get to us. Whether it be the current program or previous programs. Corridor Transformation. We are going for it in spite of the challenges that we would have had in the immediate past. Any other thing that you want to leave with us, Joshua, as you go as you go inexorably to find your bed, because tomorrow, why tomorrow, he may not be going to school tomorrow because I understand it's half day, but his mother is in charge of that particular responsibility. And I wanted to find out today if he had homework. You had homework today?
No.
Oh, right, good.
Well, we have test on Friday, and since barely not even half of the class come today, so I wouldn't really be expecting anyone to come. Well, 3 children say they were going to come. I don't know what lesson they are going to
To be engaging, because Miss wouldn't want to teach 3 children in her class.
Miss will teach 3 children.
She will? All right, okay, well then you should be the 4th one then. If it's so, you'll be the 4th one if Miss teaching. If one teaching is taking place, then somebody has to learn. That's all. I'll tell mommy what you just told us. That was a secret you was trying to keep from us. You see how you out there make him level with us? So we know what to do domestically. We know what to do in the family, in-house.
I don't know if the 3 children actually coming because...
he changed the talk now. He changed the talk now.
I don't know if the 3 children... But
you said earlier that 3 children will.
I don't know.
All right. I hear you. All right. Well, of course, give your parting words, and let me get on with the big people business.
Stay in school if you are a child. And if you are not a child, show your children this.
All right. But he doesn't want to go to school tomorrow because they're having some kind of meeting.
It's hard.
And then telling me that telling you as well in your presence that 3 of them plan to come. And when I said, well, you will be 4th, he now says that he's not sure that they're coming. Young children these days.
A boy named, well, I'm not really going to say his name, but if I have to, his name is Simon.
Mm-hmm.
He said he might come.
Okay.
So if he doesn't come, that is 2 children.
I hear you. All right, my friend.
But everybody has to come.
I think on the next occasion when you are back here, which is tomorrow, I think we will deal with nouns, because children, noun, and of course the plural of the noun changing all entirely. Child, children, fox, foxen. And of course not sheep, because plural of sheep is sheep, so that wouldn't categorize as but something. Knife.
Hold on, wait.
Knives.
Wait, you say foxen or oxen?
Oxen too. Oh yes, foxen, oxen. Yeah.
Fox.
Oxen. Yeah, he is correct. And foxes. All right, okay. If you say so, I'm not going to argue that. When I take up the challenge tomorrow night, I want you out here to tell me the plural of fox. If it's foxes or foxen or ox and oxen. All right, that means as
wait. Before, since we are doing a little challenge, we might have to do a little bet. So if I win the bet, you have to give me $10, and if you win the bet, I have to give you $10. Okay.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Let's take this final call and see if it's for Joshua. Is it for Joshua or me? All right, go ahead, call up.
Sorry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 I see. I understand. I understand clearly because it speaks a deeper issue as well, or maybe an equally concerning situation about anonymity, because when when you when you do your civic duty by, of course, informing the police about a particular matter, somehow that information reaches the person about whom the complaint is made, and next thing you are being threatened at home, and your life and limb um, usually goes as a consequence of that. So you're quite right. Go ahead. And they say Mr. So and so called. Yeah, goat. Yeah, but the point I'm making that they are telling the person who is complaining about Mr. So and so call and say that they're doing so and so and so. I mean, come on. Yes, come on. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. It has to stop. The police has to be much more responsible. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. It should be, if you say it is anonymous, meaning that nobody should know, then, that incognito, that not being visible, not being known, not being heard, you know what I mean, should be the principle. And then you act on the information, whether it's good information or not. But then, of course, they will say too that if you want to give your name, it might be a crank call, as somebody pulling a prank. And if on one or two occasions they went into the scene of a particular, as a result of a call, and nothing turned up, they will now say that people are paying the fool. So they want to get the idea of these people in order to prosecute them, should in case that it turned out to be a faux pas, so that you can get charged for wasted police time. So you have to balance it, yeah. 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 All right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. 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 Yeah, when they say something there, especially, certain elements in the society. And I want to tell you as well, as you on that, I know that a regular feature around here, young people will complain that the police may not have anything on them, but they know them from maybe some previous encounter. or somebody telling them about that particular individual. And what they do, they pick you up and carry you and deposit you in the community, the territory where your so-called gang enemy is. And you have to hightail out of there quickly as possible, pretend that you are try to disappear somehow in order to get out of there. That's a regular thing as well. No, you cannot be doing that to people. Yeah. And so, that's right. So, with pride, they add pride to it. With pride, that can be pride. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Look in. Yeah, some of them, and some of them really does insist, not knowing that that is a fundamental no. Yeah. 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 For sure. Yeah, the statistic is. Yeah. Well, I think it was. I think it was Senior Counsel Israel Khan who has been advocating that where circumstances like that occur, the police officers should take it out of their own pocket to pay the damages when citizens found themselves in this situation. Yeah. That might slow down or stop the delinquency here. And malicious prosecution and all of that, but because they have nothing to lose, and of course the victim of that kind of unfair act, a malicious act, will lose maybe a job or lose a day's pay or lose his integrity in the meantime, and they'll be scoffed at by the general community, and his family may disintegrate as a consequence so long as that lasts. And they are comfortable getting their salaries as normal, and that is, I believe that is their job, to waste the court time and to, of course, maliciously attack ordinary citizens. Yeah. I see. Great. Yeah, if not, don't make any case. Do not prefer any case against the person if you know that you're not prepared to go all the way according to your duty. Yeah. 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 Yeah, mission accomplished. They keep you there as long as possible. You have to pay lawyers, so they impact negatively on your pocket. They carry you closer to pauperization if you're not strong. And of course, as I said, the humiliation and the embarrassment to be going before a criminal court on a criminal matter is no joking matter, because your whole career could be damaged as a consequence, and your standing and status in the community will also be affected negatively. Yeah. Yes. I hear you. Pleasant good night. We have another caller, but go ahead. All right, okay. All right. That was Mr. Silver Fox. I like to call him Silver Tongue. I changed the name, Silver Tongue. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, Silver Fox was talking there for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
And we didn't hear a word Silver Fox was saying.
Oh my goodness, sorry about that.
Can't you fix your audio arrangement so that your listeners could hear what is happening?
Go ahead, just a minute, caller. Go ahead. Let me make sure. Go ahead, caller. Talk. Let me hear. Let me make sure.
I said you need to adjust the volume.
All right,
so
good.
that callers could hear So that's the US to be already
All right, thanks very much. Yes, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I think I did something. I did not put on the speaker mechanism on the phone. I think, but thanks very much for that that intervention. Anything you want to discuss? All right. Thanks very much. Of course, that is a tenacious and a serious listener, and he wants to hear every morsel of the discussion that has taken place on the live. Of course, every syllable, and you can't blame him for it if he is being discomforted by the lack of course, audio. Thank you very much, sir, for your intervention. The line is open at 337-6940. 337-6940. Those of you who wish to assist us in whatever way, well, of course, we have the other number. I think is it on screen at this time or not? Let me just make sure. 337-6940. Let me see. Yeah, if you want, if you wish to assist us here. 336-6594. Yes, that is the number that if you wish. I made an appeal last night for volunteers. Volunteers is the operating word. Volunteers for the to be. We'll make a formal announcement as soon as we get the studio organized with chalkboard or electronic board, whichever it is. We're going to go traditional. We are going to go modern or technological. Doesn't matter. The fact is that the material is the same, and that is, of course, we will be offering at our Empowerment and Resource Center on George Street, 55 George Street, for the immediate community in the first instance, as we have, of course, at this point in time, providing free internet outside. Yes, separate from the internet that is here. So notice, we have two bills to pay. The one connected to the daily programs, including, of course, when I go on the ground report, and, of course, the one that is providing internet service to the immediate community. Right now, as we speak, there are young people outside and about who, of course, are utilizing the facility on their smartphones. But the point I want to make, there are two things, and I want to add another thing, apart from what I said last night, from the academic or vocational aspect of what I would have said. So I said about three things last night. One, we will be, of course, looking at computer literacy, particularly for the adults, especially those who may not be familiar at all with the technology. These days, that is considered to be a cardinal sin. When I first encountered the computer, of course, as everybody else, you would be unfamiliar, but as you grow into it and as you learn and learn and learn, the time frame for some, in terms of learning, maybe will be different. Of course, people learn at different rates. But the fact of the matter is that you must be exposed first and foremost. As I argued last night, that a person who would have been exposed to an academic experience or environment for 5 years, I'm talking about, of course, the secondary school, the typical secondary school student, and that exam, whatever it is, whether it's maths, whether it be literature, whether it be biology, some science and so on, history, and you condense that exam into 2 hours. That 2 hours are the ending of the 5 years in preparation to leave, to make room for others to come into the space that you would have left. That's how the system is. It is cyclical. If you didn't pass the 2-hour exam, and if you didn't pass any, make it worse, you are deemed to have wasted, of course, the 5 years. The exam, 2-hour exam. And there's a school of thought that goes even further and indicated that, listen, if you did not pass any subject at all, it means therefore you not only waste time, but you are relegated to a certain, what I consider to be socio-economic class automatically. And there is, of course, a stigmatization attached to that. I want to tell those who may be in that situation, do not feel, and it is impossible that you would have gone to school for 5 years and learned nothing. That is a misnomer. That is a fallacy. That is what I consider to be disingenuous, not only of the system, but by the society, who would categorize a person such as such. And whether you, and I want to broaden the discussion really, because I want to say that even if you turn out to be a bad boy or a bad girl, a gangster, so I'm going at the extreme, to still say that that person went to school and learned nothing, in my view, is still unfair. They must learn something. The 5 years they're talking about, nothing. But that being as it may, we will deal with those issues as time goes along. But what we are doing at the Empowerment Center, apart from the fact that we have already had some 1,000 in our database wanting either food card, a job of different kinds, whether it be public or private. The fact that we can have that, and we started, of course, after the 28th of April, after the last elections. That speaks volumes. And it is consistent with what we have been seeing when, of course, opportunities present itself for the public to respond to job opportunities. And we have seen it, of course, very poignantly exposed, demonstrated when the prison asked for potential recruits. Thousands of persons turned up. Police turned up. And then, of course, the cruise ship exercise, where they were looking, of course, for suitably qualified Trinbagonians to work on these luxury ships, cruise ships. So you ought not to be surprised that 1,000 persons are on file. And why is that so? Well, we have not been able to match job availability with those persons who are seeking work. And the pace of the accumulation of persons seeking work and cannot get, we only have to imagine, think as to where we can be in the future, because we can think of where we are now simply because you have 14,000 young people coming out of school every July, every year. Every July, every year, end of their natural secondary school life. The majority of which will be looking for some kind of employment opportunities. Just about 5% of them would repeat and or go on to the advanced level of whatever subject that they would want to, of course, engage in, and what career they may be contemplating. But it is disconcerting and it is troubling that the vast majority outside there. And of course, that is compounded by meeting those that were there the July before, and the July before, and the July before, and the July before, and you understand the gravity of the problem, and that therefore we can look futuristically and say that something has to be done. Whether or not the jobs are available, that's another what I consider to be research, or another activity, or another exercise that those who have the capacity and the responsibility must engage in, whether it be the Ministry of Labor, or whether it be the government as the facilitator for the encouragement and the promotion of employment opportunities, or indeed whether it's a university. There must be some kind of what I consider to be understanding as to the size of the unemployed in this country, and then knowing that and having that foundation, we can now look at where we can find opportunities, and we must do so with immediacy as an existential sociological time bomb. You know what I say that it is an existential sociological time bomb that none of us would want to explode or want to be exploded in this country. We have to be able to become, but the first thing is to acknowledge that fact. And that is why I was so concerned about the presence of so many Venezuelans in this country, and that the present government has taken the bull by the horn and say in no uncertain terms that the undesirables must be immediately repatriated to wherever. Doesn't necessarily mean Venezuelans alone, but they clearly are in the majority. And of course they are here because of the circumstances that would have been created by the leadership or those in charge of the Venezuelan society at this point in time. And having said that, I want to launch, of course, I'll come back to that issue of the unemployment, what I consider to be burgeoning crisis, and the need for immediate addressing of that problem, lest we, of course, whether advertently, inadvertently, whether desirable or undesirable, trigger, ignite that sociological time bomb caused by the inability to manage or to provide employment opportunities for the incremental but huge 14,000 at a time people, young people meeting up younger ones, but at the end of the day all have a common problem, and that is to say unemployed. Whether unemployability is another issue, because if they didn't do well in school, it means therefore to go on to the next level, and whether or not there are jobs for persons who would have done well in school but none for those who did not do well, then of course you know there is a need, and to of course understand the critical, not just nature of the problem, but also the need to do what? To do the evaluation. to do the assessment, to do the research. And therefore, on their own volition, I call on the University of the West Indies, University of Trinidad and Tobago, and the Ministry of Labor to so engage. We have to know what is available, what is not, whether or not our students or young people meet the criteria that is required for what is available. And if what is available is not enough, or our students are unable to meet the grade, because we have heard about brain drain scenarios, and we have heard about the search outside of Trinidad and Tobago for a certain category of workers, specialists, and we need to know. That's the first thing that we must be able to assess in order to determine where we are in terms of avoiding that sociological time bomb that I refer to. Very, very, very critical. So here it is that the Prime Minister met with, of course, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State for the United States, and courtesy the Trump administration, met on the question of the, among other things, security, of course, economic relations. I'm sure that the question of environment, the question of crime and criminality, the question of course, the presence of the Americans in the southern, deep south, Caribbean, and of course the need to understand and how Trinidad and Tobago could benefit from the attack on drug cartels, etc. But in addition to that, we have heard that the Dragon gas deal may well, of course, resurface, may well get another lease on life. And that was announced by the State Department, for which, of course, Rubio is the head of. And when it comes from there, the information that consideration is being given after negotiations with the Americans, and talk, in other words, talk to with, of course, the Prime Minister and her delegation now in the United States. That by itself is good news. But it does not mean that we must not look at other factors such as timing, such as the investment, such as who are the players, and indeed whether the Venezuelans are going to accept the terms and conditions. What we know for sure, and that was the folly or the stupidity of the Rowley and the Young administration by believing that somehow they could hoodwink the Americans, say that they are committed to a particular course of action that the Americans are committed to because of their own interests, and therefore when that is frustrated, when the agreement is thwarted or is reneged, and why Rowley and them believe that somehow the Americans may not have known about that, for example, shipment of fuel that ended up in Venezuela, whilst of course sanction was in effect by the Americans. And Rowley, of course, at the same time saying, in essence, that does not affect him. He has, as a sovereign territory of which he is in charge of, Trinidad and Tobago at the time, he can do what the hell he wants, and of course frustrate the Americans. You have to be a madman at minimum, and at best unpatriotic to Trinidad and Tobago, luring or running the risk of ourselves being blacklisted by the Americans. And as one dotish PNM politician in the parliament said, who the hell is Trump? But you can't get the dragon gas off. The OFAC license was taken away. Not just because of the what I consider to be Maduro's wild and of course reckless behavior in relation to the agreement with Biden. Remember that? Yes, remember that? Have free and fair elections in Venezuela. Have independent observers come in. None of that. And we only tried that, of course, before the 2025 April, it turned out to be 28 elections. When, of course, he was saying that we have a track record of good and fair and free elections. And he is not minded to have international observers. When he got away with it in 2020, he was able to interfere with the process in 2015. But he knew he had Donald Trump to deal with in 2025. And he knew that his cuckoo was cooked by that time. He knew that, of course, victory was inevitable for the person who he maligned and, of course, created all kinds of lexiconic expressions that was of and still is considered to be of a misogynic nature, hater of women, talk. And I'm not just talking about Kamala Persad-Bissessar, but every woman in Trinidad and Tobago must have felt offended. But because, like Camille and they would remain silent, one would question whether or not they are women at all. And maybe we have to engage in some biological investigations, because certainly no woman subjected to the very distasteful, wicked and evil, degrading and humiliating commentary of Rowley. You can't be a woman sitting close to that man. Can't be. So we may have to do some biological investigation of a what? Of a male or female examination nature. Let me put it that way. But the fact of the matter is, here is it, that the discussions have taken place. The OFAC license may well be reintroduced to the equation with respect to the dragon gas. And for those who will like to suggest, prefer, that it is hypocrisy on the part of Kamala Persad-Bissessar, I say to you, you have no such luck. At least not with Lennox Smith and the majority of the right-thinking Trinbagonians, because this is about Trinidad and Tobago's interests. And well done, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, for that wonderful gesture, because without it, exploring all possibilities, and it was always a low-hanging fruit since Rowley's time. The thing about it is that Rowley and they tried to play games with the Americans, for want of a better term, and they lost. The Americans will have none of their shenanigans. They'll have none of their innuendos and mama guys. None of their hypocrisy and duplicitous behavior. Duplicitous behavior. Saying one thing and doing something different. We are going to find out how much money was spent on the pre-arrangement when, of course, the OFAC license was alive under Rowley, and then we will find out how much money was sent to them. Because you see, the conditions that was laid down by Mark Rubio and, of course, the Americans is no different. No different to what was laid down when Rowley and they said that they negotiated it. Monetary benefits to Venezuela must be sparse, if at all. And I'm being generous. Same conditions. So there's no difference. But what will spur the Venezuelans to accept? They must not by now realize that the Americans under Trump not making joke. You cannot now tell Trump, I go negotiate with you. You cannot make any overture that I will release whatever remaining prisoners, American prisoners that you took, if at all there is still any consequential of the arrangement with Biden. You cannot now say that you will have free and fair elections and you will allow observers to come in from wherever they may come from. That is water under the bridge. That would have been, has been. Nobody will take Maduro serious with that again, because that was tried, tested, and he failed the test. Failed the test. But if Trinidad and Tobago wishes to pursue, and I see no reason why they mustn't, because it is about Trinidad and Tobago's interests, creation of jobs, the augmenting of our foreign reserves, the optimization of Point Lisas. Over nearly a dozen companies left the Trinidad and Tobago under Rowley, you know. And while, of course, you may argue, or he may argue that, of course, it's because of lack of gas, one thing cannot be doubted is that the companies that would have left Point Lisas would have for sure stayed a little longer if it wasn't because of the belligerent, nonsensical lack of Trinidad and Tobago's interest approach in the negotiations with these companies. You cannot tell them and negotiate, of course, a higher gas price and tell them take that. I have what? I have shareholders to deal with as well. That is good. That is good talk. That is good, even gun talk. But from the time they're threatening to leave, you must know that the leverage you thought you had to keep them here because they love Trinidad, you have to now adjust. And I say so because the attitude of the last administration under Rowley and they was so disgustingly appalling. You know what I say? I said it was so disgustingly appalling that it was reminiscent, and he brought it into the negotiation sphere with these big companies that Trinidad and Tobago would have to rely upon to get, of course, the foreign exchange that is required because of our acquisition of foreign taste, and therefore we'll have to have money in order to We have to have the greenback to treat with it. But let's go to the line. The person, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, a pleasant good night to you and everybody on
Yes.
the live. A pleasant good night.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Lennox, I see something on the internet today
Uh-huh.
where the Venezuelan police hold some human traffickers claiming that they were trying to traffic humans to Trinidad and Tobago. I trying to figure if these people them would have hold if it's Trinidadians or Venezuelans. Because how come all of a sudden this fairy tale story coming out from Venezuela? You understand? This butcher I see from since day one after the UNC win, somebody put up a post and said PNM and Venezuela will be working together to bring down this government. I like watching this Dragon Gang deal. I don't know exactly what it is the Prime Minister playing right now in terms of the chess game. But I feel like that's something we need to see what I ain't seen because and some of the people remember, oh, Steve was right and this and that, and we'll come back to the deal and this and that. But I feel like there's something here where I ain't seen. So I don't know if you can able to channel light on that. Because based on the information that I got this morning on the program, is that the duo and Maduro are part of the deal and Venezuela people have to make a decision. If they want this thing to come true, is either the group Maduro as being president or they continue living in that hollow life and everything. Right? But I'm still trying to understand what is going on here, but I don't know if you can able to like understand.
Yes, I certainly will, and thank you very much, of course, for hastening my my presentation in that regard. So I will pause on the topic that I was speaking prior and address that directly. And of course, it is just after 9:30, so I want to quickly, of course, address that. I am of the view, and I've said it already, that first and foremost, Kamala Prasad Bissessa, the present the head of the government, is acting in Trinidad and Tobago's interests. It has nothing to do with whether or not there were bellicose, what I would consider to be reciprocity across the Gulf of Paria. That is coming from Venezuela and going to Venezuela from Trinidad. I'm talking about the utterances. That is separate and apart from this commercial venture. It's a commercial venture. The PNM clearly, it is in their interest to say that it is hypocrisy, to say that you said that the deal was there, etc. But you are saying so, I want to say, pretending to be oblivious. Let me repeat, pretending to be oblivious. And they would prefer that those circumstances wasn't there to factor in. But people like me and others will certainly, of course, have to, of necessity, and try to be as objective as possible, to mention, to identify. And that is, when Kamala Prasad Bissessa said that the Georgia deal was dead, obviously it was because not only was Stuart Young, by the time Stuart Young took over, the OFAC license was dismissed, was taken away from them. But the possibility that it will come back at all could have only been from the PNM perspective if they were in government. But it didn't turn out that way. So therefore it's obvious that the position of the present government, when they win the election, they had to take that position because circumstances were different. Let's take a pin there and take our call from Tobago. Go ahead, Tobago. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I think some caller called and said that they weren't hearing, so prop up the volume a bit. So I hope that that is not the case now. Because I didn't put you on the speaker, I believe, the speaker phone. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Buy the cure from them, even though you and them are talking or the whatever it is, because you're saving lives. So with the drug and gas deal, if it's possible for Camilla to use it, or honorable, right? I don't see no problem in that, because we and my daughter have to be friends to take gas from me. Right? You don't have to be friends. Remember, it's a business deal. It's money passing. It's not no no friendship like Rowley and them going and dance Congo line and all kind of thing. Right? So I don't see the problem in that. That is a problem that only Penny go talk about. And I mean, Penny are making, and them are even making no sense. Right? Do business with who you could do business with. You don't have to be their friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my friend. And that is a common sense assessment. But as I said, we stick a pin, and of course, when we return to the topic now that we are, the fact of the matter is, and of course, I shared the view of the last caller, that is in Trinidad and Tobago's interest. And the Prime Minister and the government has all the responsibility to seek Trinidad and Tobago's interest. But I want to say that the factors that would have caused Venezuela now, in spite of the bellicose and the antagonistic, what I consider to be verbalization across the Gulf of Paria, one to another, must now be set aside. And I'll tell you why. You see, the circumstances then, as I said, is different to now. The Americans have deployed a massive military buildup in the southern Caribbean, close to the borders of Venezuela. Venezuela, the Maduro and them are guessing as to what the Americans really are doing, and whether or not it is about narcotics. And notice, of course, he too will go on and trying to eradicate cartels within his country, his borders. He deployed people close to Trinidad, he deployed people close to the borders of Colombia, suggesting that some. But we have seen that before, because as I said, he had an agreement with Biden, and Biden, of course, took him at word, at face value. He did a certain part of it, and the substantive part, free and fair elections, he simply said no, and of course created a situation where the opposition, feeling or have calculated that they won the elections, could not have been, as he used, of course, his juggernaut hold on the army and other institutions of state, as he captured the state in order to stay in government. The difference once again here is this, that the Americans under Trump have Maduro, and they're guessing whether or not that mighty flotilla of mighty weapons are really intended for regime change by force. Now I say by force. And so I don't know if it was factored into the calculations of the Prime Minister, and if she has calculated that. and not wait on, of course, serendipity or chance, the situation as it has evolved. Whether it's so or not, the fact is that Trinidad and Tobago is a beneficiary. And in order for Trump and they to appease the Americans at this stage, they have to engage Trinidad and Tobago, because they do not know what is the true intent of that flotilla, that armada that has come their way, intimidating and, of course, putting them in a state of trepidation for forced regime change. Understand that. And Maduro, I don't think he is so dense to forget, of course, the situation in Panama, Grenada, when, of course, the American build-up to go after the dictator in Panama, a similar pattern, modus operandi. And you could say what you want. You could call America the bully of the world. You could call them the most powerful country in the world. You could call them exploitative, whatever capacity, and they will use it if somebody or some country offend them. Imagine the president of Venezuela is a fugitive from American justice, you know. A fugitive. So he knows that they don't care about him. However, because of the position taken very early, nobody had to control her. Nobody had to beseech her. She said it, that if Venezuela only enter the Essequibo, Trinidad and Tobago will automatically become a base once they want it to repel Venezuela out of the Essequibo. People, that is significant, you know, because what it has done is silence the critics in CARICOM at the same time. Because even though they're talking about this talk about zone of peace, and believing that just as the Venezuela, the flotilla that has come on the borders is for an ulterior motive other than that of those groups of individuals, those drug cartels. That is why they're saying it must remain a zone of peace. They know that just as the Venezuelans. But they could hardly condemn Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister as she was on the offensive. She said CARICOM is already fractured. And peace is an illusion in CARICOM or the Caribbean. And she could say so with authority because the facts are that even Rowley, when he was Prime Minister, brought all of them here in Trinidad to talk about, of course, crime and criminality and, of course, the drug trade and the repercussions and the deposit of guns and ammunition, which, of course, is the favorite weapons of the gangs and those who are prepared, of course, to wreak havoc in Trinidad and Tobago as far as peace and security is concerned. He did that, acknowledging that, of course, the region is at war, whether within its borders or with itself. It's real. So nobody could counter-argue that. That is why they are so silent and, of course, harping on the whole question of a zone of peace talk, because they want to, as far as they can, to see if they could assist Venezuela avoid military regime change. That is what they are talking about. And why they cannot speak is because Here it is, Trinidad and Tobago, whether singularly or I think they have a company in that of the Jamaicans. They say, our CARICOM brothers and sisters in Guyana, don't touch even one hair on their head. Don't touch a centimeter of their soil. How CARICOM responding to that? They can't. Because in doing so, claiming that is regime change the Americans want in Venezuela, and Venezuela being the aggressor against Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago is saying, as a member, a sister nation, a sister country in CARICOM, we are going to facilitate the repelling of any Venezuelan excursion into your territory. How Gonzales, how any one of the Dominican Prime Minister, the Barbadian Prime Minister, could counter that without offending Guyana. How are they doing that without offending Guyana? Well done, Kamala. Well done, Madam Prime Minister. You have placed the gauntlet down and you have acted in the interests of Trinidad and Tobago. You have acted in the interests of CARICOM, and you have gone to the defense of an emerging major player in CARICOM and in this hemisphere, a sister CARICOM nation, Guyana. Well done. So, conclusion. Because they are not certain, and given, of course, the idiosyncrasies of Donald Trump, you never could tell when he could change, something like what we call a 24 hours or a chameleon. Don't know when he could change. Maduro and his team must be contemplating, listen, best we compromise our position, you know. Best we pretend that we didn't say what we said to Trinidad, and let us enter into negotiations with Trinidad on the basis of the OFAC license and what is left of the 30-year arrangement that was negotiated with Venezuela in preparation for the exporting of gas by way of pipelines to platforms under the control of Trinidad, and get that gas to our facilities that are not moving up to optimum or are not operating to optimum. Yes, we're talking about, of course, a train 4, a train 3, train 2, and maybe they could get some to finally, of course, resuscitate or revive train 1. Of course, the hoodwinking of it, the hoodwinking of that particular train 1 in terms of an investment that was never an investment, but of course, what I consider to be monies that was crafted by the Rowley administration for political reasons, nothing more. Because if the upstreamers told you that we're not interested in train 1, and you still put out how much it was, 400 million on it, and because the opposition at the time, David Lee said 800 million, you concerned that it wasn't 800, it was 400. The fact is, not a blasted cent was supposed to be spent on train 1, maintenance or otherwise. Leave it mothballed. Leave it mothballed. But no, It was to get, of course, political finances to hoodwink the population as they did with these overrated, oversubscribed, and profligated use of our resources to give to the media elements sympathetic to the PNM that generated the disgust of the general population that resulted on the 28th of April in a sound curtail for the PNM, 26 in Trinidad, and nothing in Tobago. You know what I say? I said 26 in Trinidad and nothing in Tobago for the PNM. 26 for the UNC and coalition of interest. That is where we are. So my point of view, we will see how it pans out. But the threat to regime change and the consequences, because it may be death, jail, etc., they would have seen what Noriega got, spent his rest of his life in jail. Maduro has a 50 million bounty on his head. Understand that. So he will be quick to let bygones be bygones, but watching with cocky eye, hoping to get some kind of opportunity to wiggle his way out. Trump and they appear not to allow any wiggling room. No wiggling room for you because you have overstayed your ability to wiggle. Russia, China, Cuba, Iran, I am not going to even consider them. If America attacks Venezuela and they claim they have interest there, whatever, what's going to happen is that they're going to say that they have interest there, and they're going to say that the Americans should preserve their interests. Full stop. Full stop. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. See you tomorrow morning on the ground report. Andy, Mikey, and myself, of course. Andy is still under the weather, but I thank him for aiding this morning because we had a technical problem here on George Street. But we will be out in full force. As you see, I got back the camera and you see that the line is up and running. Of course, we don't use this line on the ground report, but certainly it is good news for the corridor transformation. I trust that tonight's program has been sufficiently edifying, and at the same time, as I have, of course, the proud opportunity to present same. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And let's, of course, end as how we started. The ghetto is not this representation.
Good night. After listening to Sandra Calypso, I decide to make a pass in the ghetto. After hearing about the set of poverty, I say I'm going down there and give them some charity. So I get a bag of flour, I get a bag of rice, a bag of this, a bag of that to treat them nice. But when I reach down in the ghetto, I hold my head and bawl. Some people in the ghetto, they not suffering at all. Some people in the ghetto living very comfortable, who have direct TV, a VCR and cable. The children running butt kicking ball in the street with $1,000 brand name Michael Jordan sneakers on their feet. Blenders and dishwashers, microwave if you please. Goatee lap and tattoo pack up in the deep freeze. The outside of the building, man, could make your belly crawl. But check up on the inside, man, is carpet wall to wall. Mama, ooh, they laughing. They laughing, they laughing, they laughing in the ghetto, laughing, laughing.